the stormy, appalling conditions. It's the first year, this is the 10th anniversary of our event this year, and it's the first year we've had such, well, it wasn't too bad really, was it? Well, it's my privilege and honour to welcome the first Sea Lord here this year, his first occasion he's visited. We're delighted to see you, sir. And we have the Shipping Minister here, which again we're really pleased to have him. And I would like to thank, obviously, Commander Morgan from the President and Trinity House. And all those Sea Cadets and Sea Scouts who are here today, and the Merchant Navy Cadets, we'd like to thank them for taking part and giving us something that's across the generations. Everybody works hard, particularly the organising committee for this event. We start tomorrow to start organising it ready for next year, and next year is of course the 30th anniversary of the Falklands. I would, if I'd like, just to mention one of our wonderful seafarers who died a couple of days ago, Alf Trafford. He was a wonderful man and a great supporter of the Merchant Navy Association throughout his life. Just what it's mentioning here today. Thank you once again everybody for coming. It's much appreciated. All the work you do, our patrons particularly, the way you go around and spread the word of what we're trying to achieve here. And I would like to thank Commodore Waltham and the Fleet Media team that he helped us spread the word with. Thank you very much, Bill. It's much appreciated, your support as well. Thank you very much indeed.
Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome your most distinguished guest of honour, the First Sea Lord and Chief of Naval Staff, Admiral Sir Mark Stanhope, GCB, OBE, ADC.
Malcolm, John, thank you for that introduction. I'm slightly worried by the inference within it, though, that this is the 10th anniversary of this celebration, and it's raining for the first time, and here's the First Sea Lord in his first any connections there are, I'm sure, not to be drawn. It was at an evening reception at the White House in 1920. A young woman approached the then President Calvin Coolidge, and who was a famously sort of taciturn, reserved sort of guy, who certainly did not enjoy small talk at all, and therefore had the nickname of Silent Cow. She said, Mr. President, I bet that I can get more than 2 words out of you. He replied, you lose. That's a great example of getting your point across in a very few words. I can't promise, I'm afraid, such brevity, but I can certainly promise a significant sincerity. As many, if not all of you, will be aware, our island nation's relationship with the sea has been and will continue to be an extremely close one. But never have we, or the economic engine of our interconnected world, been more dependent upon the freedom of the seas, the trade and exploitation of its resources than I feel we are today. Not only is the United Kingdom now a net importer of energy and food, almost all of which comes by sea, but the world as a whole is witnessing an unprecedented growth in sea-dependent trade. 20 years ago, the value of cargo being transported by the Merchant Navy represented 17% of global GDP. Today, that figure has doubled. Peter Hinchcliffe, who many will know here, the Secretary General of the International Shipping Federation and International Chamber of Shipping, recently put it, if sea lines of communications were disrupted, half the world would starve and the other half would freeze to death. Our forebears recognised the importance of the uninterrupted flow of material, enabled indeed by the bravery and dedication of the Merchant Navy, supported of course by the Royal Navy, which I must draw clear attention to includes the Royal Fleet Auxiliary and indeed our allied navies. and we relied on them for national survival in two highly demanding world wars. It's been a very big week for me connected with the Merchant Navy, because I've literally just returned yesterday from indeed Archangel, where we commemorated and recognised the first Arctic convoy to arrive in 1941 on August the 30th. It was a convoy that started a relationship that ensured that we could keep Russia in the war, maintain an Eastern Front, and ensured that final success against Nazi Germany was achieved by helping Russia maintain its Eastern Front, providing stores and supplies that we were ourselves extremely short of, enabled by very, very brave, outstandingly brave in fact, merchant seamen, again supported and enabled by the Royal Navy and other allied navies. And I think our government recognises that this importance of the sea is a key feature. Indeed, in our national security strategy, it assesses that a disruption to trade, raw materials and energy supplies represents a significant risk to our national security. I'd add also to our economic well-being. Around the world, regional instability caused by terrorism, failed states and serious organised crime presents just one of those threats to our well-being. This is why the Royal Navy is, amongst its other roles, committed to maritime security, to protect the free, safe and lawful use of the sea, so vital to the UK's prosperity and its security. And neither are we doing this alone. We are working with other navies and international agencies to ensure that security at sea is synonymous with security on our streets, so that our national and international merchant navy can keep the global economic engine going. The Royal Navy's commitment to maritime security extends to wherever the Royal Navy, and of course that includes the Royal Fleet Auxiliary, operates. In particular, we're firstly part of an international effort to tackle the scourge of crime, piracy, drug smuggling, arms and people smuggling, working closely with national and international law enforcement agencies. The Royal Navy commands and contributes to the European-led Operation Atlanta and contributes to the NATO and combined maritime forces countering piracy and terrorism in the Indian Ocean, whilst providing advice to mariners through the United Kingdom Maritime Trade Operations Office in Dubai. We work closely with regional defence and maritime structures around the world, demonstrating UK intent and commitment to maritime security through regular presence along our key trade and energy supply routes. Closer to home, the Royal Navy continues to maintain forces at high readiness, ready to respond to safety and security concerns off the coast of the United Kingdom. And we play a leading role in the new, in fact only opened within the last 6 months, the new UK cross-government National Maritime Information Centre, providing for the very first time a single comprehensive national maritime picture of maritime activity and the threats around our coasts. And I, as the National Maritime Advisor for Defence and Security, am working to ensure that maritime security is enshrined in government policy and adequate resources are provided for it. Ladies and gentlemen, our way of life, our merchant fleets, our seafarers deserve protection where and when it is required. Today, we rightly pause to celebrate and reflect upon the courage, commitment and sacrifice of those in the Merchant Navy, together with those in the Royal Navy and other navies who have worked alongside them. As we seafarers know only too well, it is that very collaboration that has enabled our freedom to use the sea in the past. And I believe it will be that same collaboration that will enable our freedom to use the seas in the future. As a very young now, 11-year-old, I attended the London Nautical School with a mindset on a life at sea in the Merchant Navy. Although the Royal Navy finally won my allegiance, I am very, very conscious of the close links and dependencies we have, and I remain determined to ensure that they continue. So as we remember today all of those kept by the sea, we can do no better than ensure that whatever colour the ensign under which we sail together. Thank you very much indeed for the time.
Mark and I are working very, very closely together. Many of the things that First Sea Lord said in his speech to do with safety, crimes and piracy at sea are also my responsibilities as well. And I'm really pleased that the departments are coming together and have come together, and we've been drawn together to actually do more, not just with the Royal Navy and the Royal Fleet Auxiliary, but actually with the merchant fleets, with the IMO, to do with piracy. And you may have heard when I very proudly read out the statement from the Prime Minister that it's not just off the coast of Somalia now where we have problems. Gibraltar registered ship, which is under my ensign as well, was taken by Nigerian pirates. This is a completely different sort of piracy than what we experience over Somalia. And it's one of the things that the First Sea Lord and I will be talking about in the very near future. And I will go to Gibraltar in the next 2 weeks to talk with the Gibraltar authorities as to how we can handle that. Very short speech, I promised. But can we just also talk about our fishermen?
Yes.
We quite rightly recognise the Merchant Navy today and our fishing fleet. And sadly, on my desk, all too often, on a regular basis, comes a report from the Marine Accident Investigation Board. And invariably, on too often occasions, it's fishermen. And almost too often, they're preventable injuries and deaths. We have to change the mindset. And I've talked with several people here today about the mindset of our fishermen. They're enormously brave. The bravado is unbelievable. I used to be a fireman, and the similarities of firemen and fishermen are so obvious there. But they do get injured too often. And there are too many widows and too many orphan children. And we must work much harder to make sure that the fishing industry is much safer. I don't want to take away the thrills and the reason that people go to sea. I don't want in any way to be Big Brother or the nanny state. But it cannot be a badge of honour any longer to have lost an arm or an eye just because you're trying to earn a living at sea. And sadly, all too often that is right. I met a young fisherman in Grimsby. I know some of the people here were at that meeting when I went. I know the chaplain was there as well. And on that trawler, 6 months earlier, one of his friends drowned, dragged over the side by the net, wasn't wearing a life jacket, wasn't wearing any form of buoyancy equipment at all, and he drowned. And for several weeks afterwards, all of them wore life jackets. When I was there, 6 months later, I think none of them were wearing life jackets because they were having the mickey taken out of them. It's a polite word. Those of you that have served at sea know it's much more stringent words that were being used. They couldn't take the stick from their colleagues because they were wearing life jackets, and they reverted back to wearing no protection at all. But as those old sweats retire off, the younger generation we're training. So with that younger generation becomes the old sweats, hopefully we can diminish the amount of people that think it's, they can make fun of people that are actually just trying to save the lives of themselves and others when they're trying to live in the sea. I'm enormously proud to be the shipping minister. You may have noticed I was here last year. It's very rare for a shipping minister to last that long. I walked into Trinity House today and the lady said, "Oh, you're here again." I don't think it was just about it to me, it was just the fact that there was quite rightly a shipping minister there that I hope to be in this job for as long as the Prime Minister wants me to serve, and I will serve the shipping industry as much and as dedicated as I can. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Now that you all come and support this very special day for the Merchant Navy and fishing fleets and all those that sail at sea and have given their lives for England and all it stands for. can we say that basically the degree of recognition we share now, which hasn't been in the past, but now, is phenomenal. We have the First Sea Lord comes and takes our salute for us. We have the Minister comes, who's in charge of shipping and pays his attention to the service. And of course, we have the RFA who support us all the way. It's wonderful that at last the British Merchant Navy and what it has stood for in the past and will stand for in the future is recognised for what it's worth. So thank you all for sharing today. Now, on a lighter note, the only reason I'm here is because today I get a kiss from the First Sea Lord when he comes, and I give him a little gift to say thank you very